Hey guys, Donovan here, and I am in Las Vegas. I didn't have time to do my recording in Dallas because of a faulty piece of equipment. But here in Las Vegas for this show, I've got JBL 4888 line array, 6 stack on each side. We're running highs and lows, so we got different control for the cabinets there. Got some subs and some UPM 1Ps for the center fills. So what I wanted to do is go through equalization on the PA. So my matrix setup is I have main left high, main left low, main right high, main right low, my subs, and then my center fills. So we're going to go over to the far side of the room, that right hand side of the room, and I'm going to show you the main right highs. So by looking at this, what you're going to see is I'm going to go ahead and turn off these guys so you'll be able to see all three. Throw some pink noise into the room, and we're going to do a measurement. So here we go. First thing that you want to do is you want to click on each one of the microphones. I have 3 microphones that I'm using here, an Audix, 2 EMMs, and then I'm averaging the 3 of those microphones together as an additional measurement. So what we're going to do is focus on this again. What we're going to do is we're going to each mic, and I'm just going to click find. This is going to find my delay. As soon as it's 100%, I click insert. There's the delay on that mic setup. Let's go to the next one. Click find, 100%, insert. Last mic, find, 100%, insert. And then this bottom one will now be an average of all 3 of those microphones. So you can see it's sort of just throwing out erroneous data and sort of rounding off that curve. And I like to keep this on just to sort of see characteristics of the microphones without one particular anomaly impacting a measurement such as this one's doing. You can see that there's just a weird phase wrap there that's not the same as everything else. So for what it's worth, we're just going to ignore that and just go with the averaging. So looking at all this mud down here, this is the magnitude of the signal. So this shows all 3 of the microphones, including the average, and what everything looks like as far as how strong the signal is. So if I do none, that's really what the room looks like. Here's 48, 24th, 12th, 6th, and you start seeing a pattern. 3rd octave. So because I have the averaging on, I'm just going to sort of clean all this up by turning off the microphones that I don't want to see. We're just going to leave the averaging. So this is the real-time running average of the microphones in the room as the room hears it, or as the microphones hear it. So now what I'm going to do is I want you to look at like what you would do, or consider what you would do to this in order to EQ it to make it flat. We're looking at getting right here at 0 dB. So what would you do here in order to EQ this? I'll show you a trick. We're going to click on the averaging, and it pops up a little box, and what it allows me to do is to invert the actual graph. You saw that flip there down at the bottom? So let's close this out and see what happened. This is now an inverse of what the room looks like. So let's use this as an EQ idea. So right around here at 100 Hertz, maybe I'd go ahead and follow that curve. So I'd drop out 100 Hertz, I'd drop out something right at 250, maybe a nice wide curve that's covering from here to here. We'd probably leave this section alone. I don't know what I would do with this. The coherence isn't great on these little spikes right here, so I'd probably leave these 2 areas alone. And then there's a big, huge sweeping guy that's about, if you look at my graph on the left, it's about 3 dB, so you can hear that. So we're going to go ahead and bring all of that out as well. That's just too much, and then we'll probably bump up all these highs. So I know it's interesting looking at it backwards. It's uninverted. This is the way the room hears it. So again, we're going to pull down this section, pull down this hill, leave these guys alone. You can tell that there's not really much you can do with it because of the coherence, and then shelf all that off, and then pull this band up. So I've already done the EQing on this, and we're going to show you something interesting. So here's the EQ that I measured a little while ago, and you can see that trend where right around 100 Hertz, I'm going to pull a little bit off. Right around 200, 250 Hertz, I'm going to do a nice wide band on that. I'm going to leave everything alone at 1K where that little coherence was off. that wide notch for about 3 dB, sitting there at 4K. And if you look, you'll see a little bit on the highs there, pulling them up. So now you press V on Smaart to refresh it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on that EQ to engage it, and then I'm going to refresh this page. Ready? So should have heard it change. There's the white noise for how it sat in the room. That's how I've EQ'd it. We're going to press V and see what happens. And lo and behold, look at that. So that, refresh it again. So that is what our EQ has done to the sound as the microphones hear it in the room. So let's do a couple things here. Turn the other mics back on so we can see it without the average. So these are all the individual mics now reading together. We're going to smooth this out to an octave band, see what it looks like. And that is not bad. Back to our average. What do you guys think? Nice and flat? So I think you'd be happy with that in a room to start with that for your sound. And again, there's this coherence issue here where it's, I don't know what that is, really low. Getting 90% coherence here, not getting anything good there. And then if I bring it up to like a 12th band so you can see it, this is just an anomaly in the room. There's no amount of EQing I'm going to do to be able to fix that little notch, so I'm not going to bother. The coherence isn't high, so it's just an anomaly in the room that I won't be able to get to. So sound is always a compromise. You just sort of get as close as you can, and I think for what it's worth, that to me, let me move my graph here so I can see it, that to me looks pretty good. Like, I would roll with that. So anyways, here from Las Vegas, doing another gig, and I'll try to get transfer function videos uploaded to you guys soon, but in the meantime, there's just a quick one on equalization of a room. Talk to you guys later.